What's going on, family? It's your host, John, aka Jaye David, and you are tuned into episode 4 of the Cavalier Convos podcast. Got a few of my friends here with me tonight. What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
What it do, baby? What it do?
Got Dwayne in the building.
Yo.
Reggie.
You know.
Fonz, what's up, bro?
What's going on, man? What's the deal?
Good, man. So we are now on part 4 out of 5 episodes in our series on Black masculinity. We covered a lot, over the course of the last 3 episodes, and we're going to continue to keep building on that. So tonight's episode, man, we're going to discuss on just what it's going to take to rehabilitate the Black man. I know we spent previous episodes just bringing up personal experiences, historical context and different things to how we got to where we got to in society, but I wanted to get into some solutions tonight, how we can change things. And I guess let's just open up the floor. I'm going to kind of divide this into just different parts. The first part is going to be in regards to the social conditioning, our image of ourselves, how society has projected this image of us and how we've accepted that image. And what is the image? Not necessarily what the image is, but how do we kind of detach ourselves or divorce ourselves from that image?
One, we allow society to put an image of us out there.
Talk to him, D-Lou.
That's one. It's not that we are this. It's just we allowed this to happen. And we ran with it and things, and people thought it was popular. It's a popular thing. It's a fad type thing. So when they put an image out there, a lot of people just ran with it. So I look at it like this. We don't show enough positive Black men out there. Everything has got to be athletes or movie stars, things like that. We don't show the doctors, the lawyers, the business owners, or things like that.
I got a question. Do we show it?
No.
Or do they show it?
It's about the portrayal.
We don't run NBC. We don't run CBS. We don't run Fox. We don't run Disney. We don't run those companies.
And when we use the term we mean
Black people.
We mean leaders of those companies do not look like the 4 gentlemen sitting here talking to you.
No.
Right?
But we do have social media.
Correct.
We don't post positive things on social media. We always posting all the negative stuff. A lot of times you probably pull up Facebook, you can see all the fights, all the crazy stuff you see, but you don't see all the positive stuff. You don't see the positive stuff that's going on. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know news-wise they're going to show this and they're going to show that, but why we can't just post positive?
Let me touch on that briefly, and I'm not going to sit here and make excuses, but let me briefly touch on that as somebody who spent a large amount of time in their adulthood in the world of media.
But yeah, you've been in it.
Part of it, right, is in a lack of desire to portray it that way, right? That's number one from a positive standpoint. But the other piece of it, and I would argue from an aesthetic standpoint, the bigger deal when you look at it from a media concept, not from a construct of where us 4 sitting here view it, but from a media construct, they're about eyeballs and viewers. They're about what people want to see. And the first thing we have to do is condition ourselves as a society, not for Black men, not the Black community, but as a society as a whole, which includes folks that are not Black. We have to do a better job of conditioning ourselves to be willing to watch things that are not negative, to be willing to watch things that are not foolishness, to be willing to watch things that can stimulate our brains in a positive facet, as opposed to create a laugh or a negative imprint of a people, whoever that people may be within the video or picture of those things. Because the reality is, and I hear it all the time, and I'm not going to get into specifics, but if you talk to TV stations and they talk about their news product, oftentimes the station in a given market that has the bigger ratings does more crime-related stories as opposed to the good news stories.
True.
I tell people all the time, you can have a 24, there was a comedian that joked about it, a 24-hour good news channel, but who gonna watch it? That's the bigger part of the problem.
It's not attracting.
Well, I'll say this. There's this conversation that happened in regards to Tyler Perry opening the studio up. So yeah, Black people talking about, it's great, it's an awesome thing, which it is, and that is an amazing accomplishment. And then you have some Black people talking about, he puts out negative stereotypes and different things like that, and blah blah blah, and how he. But then it's all right, well, he does that. All right, so what's the solution? As an example, right? What's the solution, right? And I've heard different people's opinion, like, he doesn't do this, or he needs to start changing his content and things like that. But okay, but
are you going to go to the new content?
But listen,
let's keep it 1,000. Like,
are you going to go to new content?
When Eddie Murphy did Norbit, right? When he did Dr. Doolittle, wasn't nobody being like, I gotta go see that. But then when Eddie did Beverly Hills Cop, where was they at? In the building.
Yeah, and I don't think that's so much of a
All them
big
nights?
thing. I mean, that's the stuff people want to watch. And also, if you have an issue, like, so I hear like different things like, we got all these slave movies, right? And I'm the same way in regards to like these slave movies. Like, there's a lot of them. But I will say this, but where is the actual black media going to come from? Because like, if you have a problem with Tyler Perry, but if you're not offering a solution in regards to, all right, like, let's actually get some independent black media where we actually talk on these issues and promote these positive images, you can't necessarily complain, because if somebody does put out something that is positive or something that shows our people in a better light, we have to go out and put our money towards it and put our money behind it. So that's the thing. It's like, you could talk about like the images, or you could talk about the negativity, but what's the solution? The solution is we got to promote and we got to create. We got plenty of talented people in movies and media and all that thing. And create these things that you want to see.
And the one example of that you can point to in the last couple of years, look, call it 1,000, like, movies or not, everybody was screaming Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
They was on Wakanda Forever. We was on that. And that was a character portrayed by a black actor in a big budget movie. We was on that. But are we on all of those situations and concepts that paint things in a positive light? That's where the question comes in.
Yeah. I'd say this, like, the image itself has to improve. That's the biggest thing, like, for me, is like the image of self has to improve as far as the black man goes. And the only way it's going to improve is if you have leaders who one could relate to the youth, because that's really, like, Frederick Douglass has this quote, like, it's hard to fix like broken men, like something that's paraphrasing it, but it's hard to fix broken men. You have to invest in the children. You have to invest in the younger generation. If you don't do that, you're going to have a continuous cycle of repeating and repeating and repeating. But Zoe, go ahead and say what you.
No, I was going to say, I mean, you guys pretty much made the point. Well, negativity sells. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, what people want to see, what they're going to pay to see is either some type of negativity or some type of escape, whether it's entertainment. So it's a hard thing to juggle, because let's say to the Tyler Perry thing, athletes or rappers, I mean, it's great to see what they've done as individual people. Let's say, if I use Jay-Z as well, it's great to see what they did as individual people. As a black person, we could say that's something to strive to.
And you can learn from, things you can learn,
If you strip it back, though, they also make a point that he has portrayed, certain stereotypes of the black family. Jay-Z got rich selling Gus negativity through what's going on in Brooklyn, shooting somebody, selling drugs. So now it's easy for them to say now, oh yeah, I got to repair my community. But they got rich off of that information. Puff Daddy got rich. All the people we admire, I don't know you guys, I'm saying, most of the people that we admire, they got rich off, I call it selling us the dope, building their homes, and then telling us we're wrong for wanting more.
T.I. said something in regards to, like, he said, and I'm going to paraphrase again, but he said something about people complain about the content of the music, but all we're doing is reporters. Like, we're reporting what's around us. They're reporting what's in front of us. We're just reporters. Like, if you want the music to change, the environment has to change. And how does the environment change? Well, first of all, you got to see yourself. We use this term like, you a king, you a thing. But honestly, you have to see yourself as royalty. You have to value yourself, and then in turn, you'll value the black man next to you. And that's the way that you change the environment. Because if you don't change the environment, you're still going to have those. It's going to be the same thing. You're going to have the same constant cycle unless you change your mind first. Your mind has to be the first thing that changes, because once your mind changes, your actions, what you do in the physical realm, is going to change afterwards.
If that environment wasn't there, though, there wouldn't be a T.I. There wouldn't be a Jay-Z. There wouldn't be a Puff Daddy. There wouldn't be a 50 Cent.
There wouldn't be a Suge Knight.
There wouldn't be a Tyler Perry.
But listen to this, though.
Sure.
But those are 1 in a million people.
Yeah.
Had those environments not had been, right? Think about this, right? If you have an environment where black people are thriving and black people are building, Yeah, you may not have a Tyler Perry, but you'll have 100 Thurgood Marshalls. You have 1,000, a million Thurgood Marshalls. You'll have 1,000 Frederick Douglasses. You have
100%.
a million Nate Turners. You have
100%.
a million Malcolm X's. If the community is so, yeah, well, all right, we'll miss. All right, you ain't no Jay-Z's or T.I.'s, but think about the kind of man.
As far as the image
you know
being
what I'm
moving,
saying?
right now, you're absolutely right. If the environment wasn't the environment, that we have more black scientists, more black lawyers, more black doctors.
Exactly.
Here's the thing.
Can I-
that stuff is just not getting thrown at the forefront.
Well,
So
yeah.
there's probably more doctors.
I'll
than
ask it
is-
like this.
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Is
Is somebody
With-
going to
with
go
that-
watch a Frederick Douglass documentary
But
or a
if-
Suge Knight documentary?
But let me
yes,
explain this though.
nah,
let me
this-
bring
go
something
ahead.
out.
This psychology,
because
this-
you know,
they're paid-
if we didn't have certain environments and certain things, a lot of things would not happen at all. Okay, even you coming a doctor. Some people got out of a certain environment because they want to be a doctor. They want to make things better for their living. You know what I'm saying? Some
Right.
got, like I would say, some athletes, they strive so hard because they want to make a better living for their family. So some of these environments made some of these black men stronger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the environment
If
is
you went
there.
through
To,
four-
you know what I'm saying?
If you went through 400 years of slavery, you're gonna come out with a pretty tough gene pool. I'm just like saying.
Yeah,
that, like,
but
you know what I'm saying?
but I'm saying, so with some of the environment, there's things that's happening that we see all the time. Is it done made some young men stronger, and some young men they just fall to the wayside.
They made 'em malleable.
But that's where we have to step in and make sure that hey, you don't have to be that lawyer. You don't have to be the doctor. You could be whatever you want to. You can own your own business. You could be your own boss. You could do whatever you want to do, but you got to put your mind to it. You got to work hard to do it. So it's not going to be given to you. Even though, like you say, T.I., they say, oh, we just reporters. This is what's happening. This is what is happening out there. But as black men, this is where we start to step in and start educating and teaching and mentoring some of the young men, or like I say, young men, women, and start telling them about some of the things they can do besides what they see on TV. Like you say, it's entertainment. It's supposed to be for entertainment purposes only. But some of us are taking it and running with it, thinking, oh, I want to do just what they say.
That's
and
the marketing.
you know what I'm saying?
That music is designed for us to, it's called subconscious, how you program somebody's
Correct.
subconscious mind. Because if I want you to spend a certain amount of money on my album, if I'm going to charge you $100 to $300, close to $400 to sit front row at my event, then I got to get you thinking a certain way. But then the original question goes like he was saying, so how do you push the positive black man forward?
I think one of the ways to do it is by understanding that first and foremost, and I think this is where we get in trouble, right? Is there's this concept of instant gratification. And so that's why athletes and rappers, and these are the people that are shown to us because many of them went from just a person to a quote millionaire, which that doesn't necessarily make you successful, but to a millionaire overnight.
The image sells.
It's the image of the quick, fast money. And what we have
and
to
it's still just an image too.
correct. And what we have to do a better job of is explaining that even though it looks like a basketball player became a millionaire overnight, there was years and years of struggle and
Yeah, they had to
sacrifice,
work.
whether it's a football, all of those things. And so what happens is we look at the athlete and see the instant, or the rapper or the entertainer, whatever, and see the instant turnover. But then the doctor, we just go, oh, he's a doctor. And we lose sight of the fact that, number one, it took work. But number two, just because the dollar figure or the visual of what that career is to the public, you can walk in a hospital right now and see a black doctor and people go, oh, there's a black doctor. But they don't go, there's a successful person.
Nah, we're sold a lifestyle.
Correct.
Because if I move in, not pause, it's a black pocket, but if I move into the white community, they're not sold the same lifestyle. We're actually visually
not sold
we're
the same
sold.
lifestyle.
Come on.
They will go
Come on.
the weekend. They will pack their boats. They will pack their jet skis. They will pack their campers. They'll go down to who knows what and have a good time.
Yes, sir.
I would, and I'm guilty of it. Go say, well, let me see what new kicks came out. Grab the kicks, grab an outfit, and I'm going to the club to see what women I can bag.
Right.
Because I want to be what I saw on TV.
Correct.
So let's
Yeah.
bring it back to the neighborhood. In my neighborhood, or if you, well, I don't know what neighborhood you guys lived in, you look to see who looked like they was doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You look to see like they was winning. So I didn't see the white guy like he was winning. His image, the white guy, I call them nerds. they don't look like they were successfully winning.
Correct.
From the vision
In
that
the
I had.
subconscious,
So
right.
I would say if I was going to take, let's say if you're going to take like a young black kid and go, okay, look, kid, you don't got to be a rapper, you don't got to be an athlete, you could be whatever you want to be, right? My job then would be this, because in order for me to bring them where I'm at, I got to go where they're at.
That's
They're
exactly
only
right.
concerned about one thing, that's being cool.
Yeah.
So how can I make and let them know that doing a podcast is cool? There may not be a bunch of girls here shaking butts. We might not have bottles on the table, but it's still, it's kind of cool, man. So a young kid comes in and like, they look like they're having a good time. There's 4 black brothers. I ain't never thought about that before, but shit, man, I wanted to play ball, but you know what? I might do me a little podcast and talk about some stuff that's going. The only reason why people rap is before the money and all that got in. You can tell who's rapping for the money and who's rapping because they got something in their heart.
Yeah.
The money rappers don't last long.
Nope.
But when you got somebody that really got a story, like the back in it, you know what I'm saying, when rap first started rap, they told their story. They only did it because they had a story on their heart and they wanted to get it out to people. So a young kid comes in and look at us doing this podcast, he's going to be like, yo, this is kind of cool.
And they telling their story.
Right, and we talking real talk. Because look, even the rappers, check this out. This is the real stuff behind the scenes. Even the rappers, when he presents his package to the label company, you know how many the label companies go, nah, that ain't so. I like you, T.I., but I'm going to need you to be a little more rugged.
Absolutely.
If you want to get this deal, those lyrics ain't going to cut it, though. You have to be a little harder.
I say this, like, in regards to that. Same thing. Like, we've gotten accustomed to begging for everything. We got a lot of begging, and we were assuming that someone's going to hand us something, right? And I'm pretty sure all of us could, like, attest to us to some time in life. Like, we had, like, I could admit, like, at a time in my life, I thought, like, the only way I was going to make it is if I had some white people's approval or I had some white person put me on. Now, the thing is that, and I was good, basically, this is going to be a segue into the next point, is, like, if you're a producer, right? Like, if you're a producer of things, right? If you're someone who would go out and get it, like, and especially now with the internet, the mentality to have that, like, I can go get it without anybody. When you're a man and you're able to actually produce and create something and build something from your bare hands with your abilities and your talent without any help or assistance and put food on the table and produce, that does something to your confidence and your self-image as a man. What is the reason why most men, like, have trouble in regards to their self-confidence, self-image? Most of the time it's because they're not producing money, right? Financial stuff. That's like the leading cause if you talk about men in society as far as why they're act out or why they're depressed or something. Even crime. Like, crime is a direct result of lack of economic opportunity. So if you have economic opportunity, your mindset and your image of yourself, because you know as a man, this is what I'm here for. This is natural for men. We want to be able to produce. We want to be able to provide. If you're able to do that, your mind state and your self-image of yourself, you're going to be more prouder of yourself. And then from there, you're able to teach your son or your nephew or whoever that be a producer. So, like, I think that's a big play in regards to the self-image, because, like, we don't think we can do anything else. We don't think we can produce anything else besides, hooping and whatever. I hate to, like, kind of bang that drum, but it's true. We don't think we can do anything else, so we don't do anything else, which causes the negative stereotypes to happen.
I look at it like this. We have to let them know that it's not going to be easy. Whatever you do is not going to be easy. That's one thing. Like you said, begging and things. They think it's going to be easy. They think that you could be successful overnight. They don't see the ones that are very successful, that does the extra. They don't see behind closed door the extra hard work they do, the late hours they put in and everything. Even when it comes to being a doctor or lawyer, the hard studying they have to put in. Some athletes, they don't see that also. They don't see the extra work they put in besides what they see on TV and them playing games and stuff. So my thing is, you got to teach them that, hey, whatever you do, it's not going to be easy. You're going to have some downfalls. You're going to have some obstacles you got to go around. You're going to have to climb through some hoops and everything, but you can't let nothing deter you. You got to be resilient and basically be able to bounce back, because when you get knocked down, you got to be able to stand back up. It's been plenty of times as a black man, you're going to get knocked down on your back. But if you're willing to stand back up, or you're willing to fight, are you going to stay down and lay down? When you stay down and lay down, that all it is somebody stepping over you.
Yeah.
Stepping over you. But if you're that person that gets knocked down and you stand back up and they like, oh, he's back. Then they're going to look at you totally different, because they feel like, oh, he got a desire. He's not the person that's going to run away real quick. He's not going to, when he find one bad thing, he's going to turn away and go find something new. We got to teach a young man that hard work no matter what you plan on doing, you got to put the work into it. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be
Reggie,
successful
go ahead.
overnight.
While I agree with that, I think there's actually an inherent question that we have to ask to ourselves as black men and to the black community as a whole. What do we value?
Without a value,
What do we really value? Because, and the reason why I say that is this, right? Because as we have this discussion, I'm hearing a common theme, and it comes back to money and notoriety. Is that what we value?
Nah, we just want to fit in, man.
And that's my point. And what we should value.
We won't give in our values.
I got to what you said.
That's my point exactly. We're not giving our values. We have to start to shape our values on our own.
Yeah, so we value perceived status, right? Versus actual results.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's my
That's
point.
the biggest issue. We perceive status. Why you think dudes spend ladies do this too, spend all day on Instagram trying to create something to go viral, doing dumb stuff, lighting stuff on fire,
that status.
Because attention, perceived. They want followers, they want likes, they want all these things. Perceived status versus actual results. Go ahead.
That's just like living above your means as a black man. You trying to show this image. You trying to portray to be something that you're really not. Be real with yourself. First of all, to be a positive, a black man, you got to be real with yourself.
What's the old notion? $1,000 car payment on a luxury vehicle living in your mama's basement?
Yeah, but I'm saying you first, you got to be real with yourself. You can't be a positive role model until you be real with yourself. You got to learn to know what's best for you first. You can't go out there and teach a young man one thing and you doing the totally opposite. Because guess what? What happens in the dark will come to the light. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? So if you doing it in the dark and eventually somebody go say, hey, he's a good role model. Then all of a sudden there's something pop up on the news like, oh.
He was bugging. He was a human,
he's human, but he's been lying to these kids all this time. He's been lying, portraying to be something that he's not really portraying. He's portraying to be something, but that he's really not.
Let's think about that kid for a second, though.
Yeah,
because then you get where the values come in. Because most of our values, most of the things, hell, we didn't even choose our language. That was just thrown at us.
How about that?
We didn't choose our culture. We were just told this is who we are, so we roll with it. Yep. Check this out, though. Take that kid that grew up let's say you take that kid grew up in the city. Hell, it could be Mexican, but we're gonna use black. Parents ain't got much money. Everybody around him's doing well. He's automatically he's gonna go to school. White people and grown-ups don't teach kids that they less. Nope. They go to school and find out. First, you're going to start in the household.
Yep.
Then you're going to go to school and find out, I ain't got. Because you know what? If all of us growing up, we all had this image of ourselves, that we were somebody. We wanted to play with toys. We had these vivid imaginations. We was curious. Hell, if you watch a little kid ask their parents questions right now, the parents go, shut up, I don't got time to answer that question right now. That's his curiosity. That's him being who we want him to be now is who he was as a kid. But check this out. So they grow up, right? Now imagine all of us for a second. We got this image of ourselves, right? Now imagine you standing in the mirror, you're looking at yourself, you like yourself, you're playing with your toys, you're doing what little boys do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now imagine somebody coming out with a baseball bat, going up to that mirror, beating the mirror. So now you're still looking in the mirror, but guess what you can't see no more? You can't see yourself. You only can see bits and parts of yourself. So now that person then tells you, this is who you are, or this is what you should see. So now you go out into the world trying to find that. So now I feel like I'm less. I go to school, my friends got this, my friends got that. They're like, oh man, look at your sneakers. This is what happened in the black kid environment.
Yeah.
Because before, I understand it was the white person, but they don't come into the community and down us. We down us. In school, though, they will say, check this out, it's a double-edged sword. Because now my friends are saying, I don't got this, I don't got that. My mother's on welfare. Oh, man, you smell like your mother was asking my mother for money. Your mother took a note on you to go to my mother and ask, can she borrow some eggs? And I'm telling you our real-life experience, though. Right? So now you're that kid, right? So now you think you're less. Now the girls is dissing you, too. Oh, damn. Right? Then your teacher goes, yeah, back in the day there was slavery and the white man oppressed the black man. And you get punched in the mouth again. So then you get hit again. So then you go home and trying to get some affection from your parents. Well, maybe I could talk to this about, they don't want to hear it. So now you're alone in your room with a broken mirror, broken inside, trying to figure out what do I do now. So guess what you do? The one thing that all kids got is video games and TVs. I cut that TV on. This Puff Daddy.
So I got to be Puff Daddy.
He got it. He's the black guy that got it.
Yep.
I want to be Puff now. If that kid was put in an environment where it's cool to be artistic. Let's just say if he's into the arts, or if he see other kids doing things that's outside, if he get a chance to see. Well, I think the internet provides that opportunity where kids get to see other kids doing things that's not inside of the norm. But you're also right, the internet also makes them think it's going to be easy. Because I will say this, before the internet, the kids that was the most resilient was black kids. We built bikes. Growing up, we built our own bikes. We built clubhouses. Man, we would go all over New York.
We would climb trees. Bro, we was getting buckets off milk crates.
Listen, man, we would do...
What?
Man, I remember on
Bike rim?
Y'all ever had mischief night? Y'all ever had mischief night on Halloween?
Nah, we ain't.
We would throw eggs. We would throw stuff out. We was courageous as crap. We was like resilient kids. If you put a white kid in our neighborhood, he wouldn't have survived, man. He didn't have the resiliency to survive. I think some of the black kids is some of them. Now, the internet, again, is making kids soft because I see John, all of a sudden, John put a post, John got a bunch of followers now. I'm like, damn, yo, that shit was easy as hell. John the man, yo. I need to find a post, man. Yeah. All I'm missing is a post. I'll be the man, too.
That's it.
If I could just, the internet, they're tricking people into believe that it's actually easy.
Spiritually bankrupt.
Yeah.
So say that word. Give me that phrase again.
But they spiritually bankrupt. But so like in regards to rehabilitation, right? There's like 6 things, right? Or 6 areas that I always point to. Part of it I learned this from the teachings of like Marcus Garvey and Dr. Claude Anderson. I don't know if you guys are familiar with who that is, but you need to know, like he has this book called Powernomics. And he talks about like, first of all, how slavery was used as a means to basically create the structure that we see today in regards to black people's relationship with America or the United States. And also what things black people need in order to have a sustainable community and be able to thrive in America. So like economics, right, is very important. It's probably one of the most important things because without it, you can't get to anything else. Because if you don't have an economic base, you're not going to get to the education because if you aren't able to fund your kids' education or educate your own kids or build a school to educate your kids, you're not going anywhere, right? So economics is important, right? Then it comes to the values and religion. And I'd say values and religion because, not everybody's religious, but religion plays a big part. In the black community, there is a problem in regards to, now there's like a distrust in regards to when it comes to the religious leaders and the people, right? Because, they're not actually,
false prophets.
We got false prophets, whatever you want to call them, because they're charlatans. They're the same way. Basically, them and the politicians basically do the same exact things. Education is important. And when I mean education, I don't necessarily mean just in school. Yes, you want to build your own schools and teach your kids, but it's the kind of education, because it's just not enough to send the kid to school. It's the kind of education they're getting, the quality of it. History, knowledge of self. You have to know your history. You have to know where you came from, what you are, because if you don't know yourself, and all these things tie in each other, because knowledge of self first comes if you know God, or for some other people, that spiritual being or that higher power. You have to understand that, or you will not know yourself. Right? Community is another thing. That comes back to values, religion, and economics, because without economics, you don't have a community. Without values, you don't have a community. Without education, you don't have a community. If you don't know how to function in a community, if you don't know yourself, you can't function in a community. And then politics, and not just going up to the polls and voting. If you just go up to the polls and vote, that is not participating in politics. And I think our people use politics as a way out of actually doing real work. When you go and place your vote in the ballot booth, you can say you did something, but the minute you walk away, you're going back to your business doing the same garbage that you was doing before, or doing the same degenerate activities you were doing before. But, I did my service. I voted today. So, like, these are the things, like, for me that are important in regards to rehabilitating. Like, I guess we got about 20 minutes, so we could go in regards to each one. But first one is economics that I want to kind of focus on, because, like I said before, in regards to producing, right, it's important for us to be, as black men, to be able to produce, because if we're able to produce, our women will have more confidence in us as men. Because if we're going out and getting it, she can go look to us and say, all right, yo, like, yeah, my man is out here working. My man is out here getting it, right? And they can have confidence, because when they go, because especially our black women, a lot of them are college educated in business. When they go to the boardroom and they're not seeing black men, who are they seeing? What man are they seeing? The white man in there getting it. The Asian man getting in there. The Indian man in there getting it. So that's the part of the thing when it comes to self-image, because if your woman don't see you in those power positions, how do you think is she going to react to you when she sees you, on the day-to-day?
let me give you an example of something personal. Basically, being a single father, single parent, raising my oldest son. All right. One, when people first realized I was a single father and a single parent, now raising my son, I can tell you this: a lot of females looked at it like they was shocked. It's something new. Because you don't see a lot of fathers raising their kids. I don't care if it's their daughter or their son. You don't see a lot of fathers just being a single parent. You always see black mothers that are single parents, right? But when they found out I was a single father, my son, we was taken care of. He had good clothes. I was working, even though I was in the military, but I was still doing all these things. But thing is, when they first saw it, it was a different image. That, okay, because, you always hear things that they always say, it's not enough good men out here. There's not enough men out here doing the right things. There's not enough men taking care of their kids. But when they saw that, now they look at it like, okay, that's a positive black man. He's raising his son. Not saying I had to, because his mother is still around. It's not saying I had to. It was just the point of things. I took on the responsibility. When you portray or they see certain things, everybody don't see everything that happens, like I say, that happens outside of this image right here. They don't see when I leave out of here or leave out of the house. They don't see what goes on inside the house or everything. Like if you go to your job, they just see what you do or they betray the persona and everything else. But they don't see the hard work you have to do when you leave work. You still have to take care of family as a black man. You have to still, I was ripping and running.
What was the most jobs you had at one time?
I had 2 jobs at one time.
Reggie, how many jobs you had at one time? What's the most you had at one time?
4.
4? What about Fonz? How many you had?
The most jobs, I've only had one job, but I've had
at a time?
Yeah, I think I had actually somebody paying me, like getting a check from somebody, but I had probably about 3 hustles.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Now, if you kind of like that,
I've had
a couple hustles.
Now, you ask brothers out in the street, how many jobs you got. I mean, I don't know. But if you're in a position where if you're still trying to make it and you're barely making it and you're not out there working, hustling, working 50-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks, to me, you don't have anything really to complain about. Once you get to a certain level, obviously you work like no one else to live like no one else.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think if all black kids learn one thing, and then most of them got it, everybody, well, I say everybody, learn to sell. Everything in this world has got sold. If you want to make money, I don't care. You can, and I'm telling you from experience. I've been in North Carolina, checked it, because I don't like, talking about stuff that I've never done. I'm talking about living in North Carolina, no job, no place to live, and I had to figure out how to make some money. So this is what I did.
You got to sell yourself at first.
Huh? Yeah,
first thing you had to do was sell yourself.
Asked the old lady to borrow $20.
Yep.
Right? Went and bought a pocketbook from a little Chinese dude. Sold the pocketbook for $80. Did that about 5 times. Got this idea like, wait a minute. They're cheap in New York.
Yeah.
If I could get $300, it's real shit. Real shit.
Yeah.
I could get a bus ticket. They had the little cheap-ass Chinese bus.
Yeah,
I could get a bus ticket for about $40, $50.
Yep.
I don't need clothes. It's going to drop me off in Chinatown.
Yeah.
I can go to Chinatown. That's
Buy
$100
50
to get buy bags, come back, sell them, go through the same thing over again.
Yeah.
Hustle. But you got to find somebody to sell them to.
Mm-hmm.
If a man learn how to sell, you ain't got to worry about who going to hire me. You don't care if you get fired.
Yeah.
You can go out.
You can go and do it on your own.
When Pokemon's cards, one Christmas, we didn't get nothing. We didn't get nothing. So I knew this little Italian dude, Pops had a lot of money. He used to give away his Pokemon cards.
He was just selling them.
He used to have these joints called the holographics. I was like, that was the one, the little Charizard joint, little dragon. I'm like, yo, who likes Pokemon cards? Hey, man, you mind if I get those? Yeah, Iphonzo, you could get them. They call me Spud. Here, Spud, you can have them. Boom. You go to another neighborhood, 2 over, you just hope you don't get beat up, and you sell those cards.
But that's like what I'm talking about in regards to like education. We equate education with A's and B's and C's, but the kids don't know how to like, for example, like, my parents, like, I wish my parents would have taught me to be more financially literate when I was younger.
You don't know.
Can't
nobody teach you that, though.
But yes, they can.
No.
Financially literate?
Listen, let me tell you some real stuff.
It's certain things you really can't, like, I'm with
They can
Fonz
teach you, listen, they can give you the laws and say, here's the book.
Nah, bro. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Right.
Yeah, tell me what you mean by financial literacy.
Because financial literacy in regards to, all right, what are healthy financial practices? Not taking out credit cards, right? Listen, right?
Go ahead.
Right? Not taking out credit cards. Buying everything with cash. learning how to actually set a budget aside where your parents actually, because the thing is that we just let our kids do whatever. If and then figure it out on their own.
Only if we don't know.
And then when they burn themselves,
if we don't know,
you should have known better.
I'm gonna tell you.
Only if we don't know. Financial. When you say financial literacy, are you saying the knowledge of how to manage the money?
How to manage your money? Yes.
There's 3 steps. There's learning how to get the money. There's managing the money. There's growing the money.
It's also
now,
managing
kids,
and growing, and also how to make the money. Because if
you
don't
gotta get it, manage it. You gotta get it.
But
manage
at least
it,
at the minimum, manage your money.
If you ain't got enough money to manage, I don't care how much. Listen,
Bruh.
your bills. Listen, if I'm making $1,500 and my bills for me to live is $2,000, ain't enough financial literacy in the world gonna teach me how to make it happen.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Go ahead. All right.
That's not what I'm talking about. You make it. Like we got money. We work and we make money, right? And learning, understanding, all right, how to correctly budget. The value of a gallon of milk, the value of a gallon of gas, things like that. How much money are you going to spend a week on groceries? Like different things like that. How much money should you be setting aside for a rainy day?
Hard times teach you that.
Bro, there is little. No, why should you have to go through hard times?
Because that's the only way you're going to learn it. You can't get
listen. So if you as a parent have been through hard times and you know better and you know how and you climb yourself out of hard times, right? And I'm just saying this, right? And you have climbed yourself out of hard times as a parent. And you have an opportunity to teach your child to prevent them from going through ridiculous financial hardship. And you could teach them and drill them like you teach them how to shoot baskets all day and how you teach them how to run routes and throw baseballs and whatever the hell else. Why can't you teach your child and spend time with your child, teaching them how to understand the laws and rules of money?
Can I tell you something about that?
John is actually, listen, if a parent knew it.
If a parent knows it.
If a parent knew it.
But there are parents,
but can I say something to you?
But go ahead.
As a parent, you could teach a kid how to budget, but
does that mean you don't teach them?
At the same time, it's up to them to learn how to budget on.
But that doesn't mean you don't teach them.
No. I didn't say you don't teach them. I'm saying you could teach them how to budget. Like prime example, I could teach my kids how to budget everything, but at the same time, once they get out there and go through certain things, they're not going to know exactly how to budget because they're not used to spending things on their own. We had to learn, once you spend and start making your own money and learn how to budget and you got your own bills, you learn how to budget. But once they get out there, they're not going to know how to budget until they actually fall down. Then they realize, okay, now I see what they was telling me that, okay, I need to put this aside for a rainy day. Okay, I need to start using this. I need to stop going out all the time because I know I got my bills to pay and I got this to pay. You could tell them, you could teach them, you could show them all the ropes, but they're not going to learn until they actually go through it themselves.
Hard times.
You understand? So it's
who was taught that? Would you taught money?
It's like going to school.
My mother's an accountant, but I still made mistakes.
Yeah,
mistakes. I had to screw it up to learn.
Right.
But that don't mean you don't teach your child, man.
I'm saying if a parent knew it, listen, here's the reality then.
And the consequences.
Most parents don't know it. That's what
I understand. I know that. That's not a problem.
Here's one spot.
That's not who I'm talking about.
And I kind of disagree with you in this regard, Jay. When we discuss the concept of being taught this, even if you're taught it,
don't mean
they can't make sure you have the discipline to do it. And I think that's where. I'm not suggesting what you're saying is inaccurate, but I think that's where the disconnect for a lot of people is. You can teach them if you right. You can teach them, but until they figure out.
No, I get
because
that part.
The consequence.
I'm talking about
because I think the biggest thing is you can tell people all the time, right? It goes like this.
Like that old
you
saying?
Can tell a 3-year-old 87 times. You keep touching that stove, your ass gonna get burnt.
Yes.
They don't know what getting burnt feels like until when they get burnt.
Yeah, I get that. It's the same thing when it comes to
money and
but it comes to something when it comes to racism, dealing with racism, or our black parents basically pretending like it doesn't exist.
Now, I want to teach my kid about racism.
But why
it's because if I teach this is my personal.
How can you fight something you don't even know exists?
No, hold on. Listen, this is my personal opinion, though. I'm about to say why. Because I always said if I had kids, I would not teach them racism. There's a reason why. Because you take a mind. Listen, that mind is fertile. That kid's going to go play with white kids and have a good time. I only have my inferiority with white people because somebody took that information.
It's not inferiority.
I don't care. Listen, I don't want them to know about it. I don't care if they know about it. Why? Listen, let me tell you something. This is the way of the world. This is not a black or white thing, right? If a person's in power, I don't need you no fear, no question. I need you to treat them like I don't need my son feeling like this somebody that was over the top of him before. No. I don't know. I'm not teaching my kid that white man over there that you about to do business with have power over your grandmother. Hell no. Listen, that man ain't nothing. If you want something,
but that's what I'm saying.
Go get it.
But you're basically saying what I'm saying.
I ain't teaching him racism, man.
But you're teaching him that racism doesn't exist.
I'm not teaching him it at all. If he finds out, if he comes to me and say, "Hey, Daddy, I was in school today."
Somebody called me.
Somebody called me. I said,
or not even
was
that.
it your homeboy?
Can I say something?
In this day and age,
as a black man, I feel like if you have sons, you have to teach them certain things. You have to let them know about certain things. I didn't say teach them racism like about the slave. You know what I'm saying? I'm not teaching.
Yes,
but
you teach them.
Listen.
Why would you teach them about it, John? Why would you teach them racism?
Why?
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm not asking.
This is a real thing, and this is a real thing that our people deal with. And if you can't fight something, if you don't even know it exists.
But this can I ask you
If you was going to fight, check this out. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, John. You been in a physical fight before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have anybody ever came and got you to fight somebody before? Say, yo, John is doing to fight you? Check this out. Okay. You got to learn a man. Check this out. If I say, yo, John, I'm about to have you go fight this dude, right? And
then just randomly, like boxing matches?
I'm saying, somebody was best friends, and I said, yo, John, I need you to come deal with this dude for me, right?
Deal with this dude for me.
Just an example, bro, right? Let's say somebody came to get you to fight somebody, right? Say, John, this guy want to fight you. Just go roll with things up for a second.
Okay.
They say, okay, boom, John, this the dude's name is Bob, right? You're going to think of your abilities. You're like, well, shit, I'm kind of tall. Right, let's go. Where's Bob at? Boom, you're going to be ready to fight Bob. Check this out. If I go, John, I want you to come fight Bob, but let me let you know something. Bob is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And a Golden Glove champion.
Bob is a Golden Glove champion. You know what happened? You might go fight Bob, but your confidence... You're going to start questioning yourself.
That's Can I address? That's good.
I never did.
I got an answer to that.
No. Let me. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I got an answer to that.
But let me tell you this. As a black man, you need to teach them certain things. I understand what you're talking about. You don't want them to feel like some white man has superior over them or the grandmother, or things like that. But you have to let them know that certain things exist. You get what I'm saying? So you got to let them know it exists. Because thing is, I don't know if y'all seen the TV show on Netflix called All American. Yeah. All right. Y'all seen the TV show. One guy was from the hood and the other guy was from the hills. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But when the young man went to the hood to help old boy out to bring him in the car, when they got stopped by the police, he didn't understand.
They didn't register to him.
About the racism part of it, because he never been taught it.
Yeah, never been exposed to it.
Never been exposed to it. So it's certain things you do have to let them know about. Now, you don't have to go say, hey, yeah, this white man over here, you ain't got no power, don't even mess with him.
Listen.
But you got to let them know about racism, about certain things in life, so they know how to deal with it.
To what you're saying,
you know what I'm saying? I want to learn how to deal with it.
To what you're saying, I want to adjust what you said, because because if you know kickboxing,
you're gonna be like, nah, I'm good.
But listen, the reason why you tell him is because he know that, and we about to learn the same thing, so you could fight him, so you can defend yourself. That's what I'm saying. No, not a stranger. No, we telling you from the gate, and this is what you have to do. Not just that it's racism. No, this is how you have to maneuver. This is how you can beat the game. This is how you can beat the system.
That's true.
That's why you tell them.
Racism.
Not to be like, yo, I ain't never fought in my life.
But
and I'm about to go fight John Jones, or I'm about to go fight Floyd Mayweather. Nah, no, I'm gonna be in the gym. I'm gonna be hitting the speed back. I'm gonna be doing all that the same way he's doing it. I'm gonna be doing it.
I just feel like you have to teach them to let them know how to deal with it, because I'm saying it don't matter
on the average day. Let's be blunt. You work in the bank.
I'm working in the bank. Yes.
Can you for surely say you deal with racism?
Yes, I do.
How do you know that for sure?
I deal with clients that come in there.
How do you know
racist.
How do you know that for sure?
How I know for sure?
Right.
Well, one, I could tell you this prime example. Position. Mm-hmm. It was a position that was available. All right. They only interviewed one African American. Mm-hmm. Everybody else was white.
What's the name of the bank?
I'm
You
not.
can't-
No,
you
I
can't-
can't. I can't.
Reason being.
I'm not gonna. I can't put that out there.
Don't tell me the bank because I ran a lounge, right? I didn't want men working for me. See, everything also has an image to make it run because image is your marketing. Now, I didn't want ugly girls working for me. Now, they said, well, Fonz, man, who are you to call a girl ugly? Well, I know the image I want in my business, and I want pretty girls with nice bodies working in my spot. And they have to dress like this, and they can't wear sneakers.
But that's a business topic. That's a little different.
So, in racism, on the average day, what do you do? On the average day, can you say racism stop you from doing anything?
No, it doesn't stop you.
No, it don't stop you, but you got to know how to deal with it. I know how to deal with it. How do you know when you're dealing with it? Listen, I know how to deal with it because I've been through it so much all my life. I'm from Mississippi, so I've been through it all my life. So
I'm talking about
I
done
deal with it. I learned how to deal with it. So when somebody be racist when they come into the bank, I know how to deal with it.
Fonz, what are you talking about?
No, I don't white. Listen, when I did so, this guy he had the what they call the flag, the Confederate flag all over. He said, "What do you want, boy?" Now, I could go. He was in there talking about black. I was doing my demonstration. He was in there talking about black people.
Yeah,
that ain't my concern.
But
I don't care.
No. But I'm saying,
if my son go into the world, I don't want. Listen, this is my reason why. I don't want nothing, especially if we talk about economics, because we all can agree here. Grabbing that dollar is not an easy thing to do, and a lot of time the white person got the big dollar. And if I need my son to go listen, everything you want in this world, somebody else got. If you want to make big money, you're gonna have to go get it from somebody. And if a white person got it, I don't need no inferiority.
No. You're not getting what I'm saying.
I understand what's going on.
Let me explain. Listen to what I'm telling you. All right. You teaching them how to deal with it because as a black man, if you have a son,
right,
he's gonna have to deal with it sometime in his life, in the way society is going right now. I'm telling you, you got to teach them certain things about racism so they know how to deal with it.
So
when they
can have a fighting chance,
you know what I'm saying?
Bro. If you don't teach them, they're not gonna have a fighting chance.
Like prime example.
How do you know?
It happens all the time.
You deal with racism?
Can I ask you?
I've dealt with racism plenty of times.
Right on this day, right now.
When you
go out your house I don't know how you make your cheddar. So none of my business.
Have fun.
But do you deal with racism?
Fonz, let me ask you something.
Do I deal with racism?
When you leave out your house, and when you leave out your house in the morning, when you get up in the morning,
every single day of my life, no, not every single day of my life.
The only way. How do you know when you deal? Tell me, just give me an example.
It's not about how you know.
What am I going to teach him?
Listen.
What am I teaching him?
No. Listen.
Help me out.
I'm going to break something down too.
I don't get it.
You know, like you were saying, like the guy that knew jiu-jitsu, he's a golden glove, right? So, prime example, if I'm going to fight now, I'm going to go learn jiu-jitsu and go be able to go to glove. I'm going to build myself up to be able to fight you, right? Mm-hmm. So, if you teach your kid, you build something in him so he know how to fight or know how to handle certain things because you install him.
So what are you going to teach him about racism?
Let me say this because I think this is the disconnection that's happening right here. What I'm hearing, and as I listen to my guys here sitting here as we break this thing down, what I'm hearing is from one side of it, right? Not that we're on different sides, is that we have to teach them about it. And what I'm hearing opposite that is understood, but we teach them with experience, not ahead of it by giving out or throwing out theories or hypotheticals or examples. Am I categorizing wrong what you're saying by saying basically, how do we teach them about something without a tangible reference to them in the moment? Am I catching that wrong?
Teaching them to get their weight up, man.
Right, but I'm not saying that. But what he's saying is, what I think you're saying is,
what I'm asking is this.
How can you teach them until they felt it, and then you teach them through it?
Because you ask both them John. Ask both them John, bro, about if racism don't exist, bro. And he's over here cuddled up with white people. Ask Stephon Clark. Ask Stephon Clark. He's talk crazy about black women. He love white women. Dude got shot on his backyard of his grandma's house. You gotta know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, you're gonna get mollywopped out. You're gonna get wiped out if you don't know.
This is the point that this is what I'm asking. This is the question that I'm asking. Yeah, I gotta explain it to me without, you know what I'm saying, like making me. Let me ask you this question. If you're going to teach your kids about racism, right? If we didn't have this conversation and I came to you and asked you, what would you teach them exactly? What would you tell me?
What did I tell you?
Yeah. Before you can knock my perspective, because obviously I have my reasons why. So before you can knock my perspective, I'm asking you, what would you teach them?
One thing I can tell you, I can teach this. Because growing up in Mississippi, we have racism all over, dealing with football, schools, and everything. One, you got to understand that a lot of times you're not going to be the one to get picked due to the color of your skin. Do you get what I'm saying?
I'm listening.
A lot of times you're not going to be the one to get chose due to the color of skin. Now they got a law that, like, for prime example, for interviews, they have to interview a minority.
Yeah, what they call a diverse candidate.
Affirmative action.
You know, it's like affirmative action. At one point in time, they didn't have to interview not one black. Because you know why? When you put on that paper, they see that you're black. Guess what? You already thrown away.
For the record, by the way, I don't ever fill that column out because if you put that you're black, you're probably going to be excluded.
Yeah.
If you don't fill out that column, they're going to assume you're black,
Tell me
so you're probably going to be excluded.
Listen.
But see,
If you get the interview, I tell you this. And
let
I've
me
done it.
finish.
If you get the interview, tell them one thing. I'm sorry. Let me be quiet.
Let me finish what I was saying. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing. You know what I'm saying? Because prime example, like I was talking about All-American. You get stopped. You could tell your kids how to deal with this part. Say you get stopped. You're a black young man. You get stopped. You might be racial profile. You might not even did nothing. You don't know. At first, you go like, how can I teach them how to deal with this when it's nothing out there? You could teach them how to say, hey, make sure you hands in pure sight. It don't matter when you get stopped or with your friends, y'all put your hands up on the dashboard, do whatever you got to do, cut the light on in the car. So now you don't have no excuse on anything you getting labeled. Knowing that you're not done anything wrong, you already got stopped. Now you might been racial profile. Now they see that there's a number of black men in the car. Make sure your hands are being visible. You do whatever they say, like, yes, sir, no, sir. You teach them things like that because once they get stopped, sometimes, you know, kids get the high head like, man, what you tripping about, man? I ain't did nothing. Don't even antagonize them. That's one way I'm telling you that you could teach them that racism does exist. Things like that. Because you have a lot of police shootings. You have a lot of things that's going on. This is one thing I'm telling you that you could teach them. That's what I'm talking about.
My answer is going to be more so on where you're going with it. One is going to be, because of the color of your skin, opportunities are not going to be as available. So you have to create opportunities for yourself. You have to come from a position of power. It's not being on the defense or woe is me attitude is what I'm talking about when it comes to dealing with racism. You have to deal with it from a position of power. I'm going to get to the point and I'm going to build myself up as a black man to where they're going to have to come to me because I'm so good at what I do. I'm going to be able to create and make money on my own where I won't have to go out and beg and ask a white employer because I'm going to be able to start my own business or make my own money or understand the stock market. I'm going to be able to do those things. Because of systematic racism, I have to put myself in a position where I can employ other black people and build a family legacy for myself because I know nobody in white society is going to go out and do it for me. So it has to come from a position of power. So I agree with what you're saying in regards to you don't want your child to have an inferiority complex. That is not, I do not want them to have that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you have to understand this so you could go out there and win regardless of what the society is put in front of you in regards to when it's dealing with racism. That's my thing. So that's why I say you want to teach your child about it because you want them to be on not just the defense, but on the offense, getting ahead, being better. You know what I mean? That's the thing when it comes to, we view racism as a thing where the reason why we don't talk about it as black people, because we're scared, because we haven't looked at it in a position of how can I leverage myself to be in a position of power where no man is going to have power over me. That's why you teach your kids racism, because I could put myself in a position where, you know, regardless of where I am, I'm a strong black man, and then they're going to have to deal with me in that aspect. They're not going to be looking at me as somebody coming to beg or asking for something. I don't want my children, especially my black boys, have to even deal with that or even think about that from that perspective. That's why I say that.
That's what I was telling you. You want to teach them certain things so they know situational. So
how they can win, not just how they can survive, how they can win in the society.
So they'll be strong. So when they do see anything that's dealing with racism, because everybody's experience racism totally different. A lot of people, some people get it's done directly in their face. They don't know
before.
Like I say, some people seen it done directly in their face, but they didn't know.
I ain't been arrested before.
You know what I'm saying? You want to teach them certain things about racism because it exists today, but you're teaching them so they could be more superior than the next person. Because you don't want them to be bound down when they hear certain things like, oh man, they was dogging me. Now they feel little. But you want to build them up so when they hear things or they see racism or something goes across their face, because a lot of times racism is done directly in our face, and
Sometimes
a lot of people don't even see it.
you don't see it because it's done
You
in
know
a
what I'm
way. So you have to like teach them the ins and outs of that so they could be able to, all right, so this was going on? Okay, no problem. I got something for that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of mentality.
A counter. You want a counter, like a counter punch. You throw one, somebody throw one at you, you counter right on. That's basically what I'm talking about. You want to have something to counter everything that's thrown at you. That's the way of life, anything.
It's competitive.
Yeah. That's basically what we was talking about.
I basically break down racism like this. Racism is literally monopoly. It's a struggle. It's a fight for resources. It's just between races. That's the only difference. Who's going to win? That's all it is. That's why all these things are constructed. So that's why you teach a guy, because you want to put him in a position where he's going to be able to see what's going on and he's going to be able to attack and not just be on defense. Just not be like, oh, let me just wait for this police officer to pull me over and arrest me and throw me in jail. Nah, you got to be in a position. Teach your kids the law. Let your kids know the law. Like things like that. So if you have enough black men who are teaching their kids racism from that mentality, and this is basically the whole junk. If you have black men who have sons who teach your sons racism and how to deal with racism from that mentality, from position of power, you're going to be able to raise strong black men because you're teaching them how to be producers and you're teaching them how to win in life.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you this. This is one thing I can say my father taught me. One, as a man, you're not afraid of no man that comes before you. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. You're always going to be who you are. You're always going to be the dominant one. That's I was taught. That's just basically he's saying if somebody take a jab at you, you better defend yourself. That's just the same thing. It's not saying by hands. They always got to be hands. It could be by words. You got to be able to defend yourself. You got to be able to know, hey, I'm a better man than you. You're going to try to belittle me because guess what? You want me to do something to you. But guess what? I'm about to turn around and walk away. I'm going to show you I'm a better man because I don't have to stoop to your level. Because you want me to come down. You're already down here. I'm already up here. But you want to bring me down here. But guess what? I'm staying up here. You trying to get to where I'm at. I'm not going to let you bring me down. So that's part of like racism, being a black man and everything. Because you're going to have certain things that's going to try to bring people or certain ones. I'm never going to say all white folks are bad. Because I know there's some great people. I work with a lot of people. But
y'all right.
You're going to always have someone that's going to try to bring them down. It could be racism. It could be just about anything, religion or whatever. It could be anything. They're going to try to bring you down. But guess what? When you're being a bigger man, you teaching them certain things. Now, when they see certain things, now they know how to deal with it. Like prime example, my oldest son, he's 23 years old. He's on his own. It's certain things. He's like, Dad, this happened. And I had to explain to him how to deal with it, even though he already knows, but he had to second guess himself. A lot of times I like, hey, stop second guessing yourself. Be a man. You a man. You're 23 years old. Be the man. You do what you're supposed to do. If you feel like something is wrong, say something. If you feel like they discriminating against you, say something. It doesn't matter. You the man. So that's why I say you got to teach them certain things about racism so they know how to deal with it. And they got that tool. Like they always say, you got them tools in your bag. You got that tool. So when it's time to pull that tool out, I'm ready. I'm prepared. I don't have to worry about, let me go buy this tool. Let me go research for this tool. No, I got this tool right here in my bag right now. There. So when you come at me, I'm ready. It's already here.
Facts. Reggie, go ahead.
Yo, listen, I was locked in and listening, bro. Like, no, and the reason why is because opinions are amazing, right? And experiences can be some of the greatest teachers in terms of how to live. And that's an example. When you're talking about that, this is a society that is so crazy in so many ways. There is no great, perfect philosophy on how to raise a child.
It is.
Because to Fonz's point, when those kids walk out of your house and go to school, as a parent, you got no control.
You don't.
Now, on the flip side, when those kids leave that schoolhouse and they come back to your house, as a teacher, as an educator, they have no control. And so I say all that to say, one of the things that we better be careful of, regardless of if we teach them about it or not, and how we do it, is we damn well better not confuse them.
Yeah.
Because one of the bigger problems that they have is oftentimes they walk in the schoolhouse and they go to recess on the playground, and the way they're treated says everybody's the same.
Yeah.
And then when they go home and go somewhere with mom or dad,
Everybody's not the same.
they see that everybody's not the same. That, to me, is what makes this whole thing so hard to figure out, because we're trying to fix, right, or trying to change or trying to develop the next generation of people. Yet when they wake up every day, they are subject to different mixed messages all day long.
There's one thing that don't change.
The household.
There's one thing that don't change.
Foundation.
Human nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Psychology, when you learn psychology, they don't put color, circumstance.
None of it.
There's only one thing that's going to stay the same. That's human nature.
Yeah.
And it
Which
don't
is
matter.
the most unpredictable thing
And there's
ever.
only one. And the reason why I said I wouldn't teach my kid racism is because the only one thing that ever stayed the same, whether it was racism or anything of it, white people don't person. Black people got slaves. Everybody has slaves.
Yeah.
Well, hell, my neighborhood was racist towards each other. You stayed on this street, you was this. You stayed on that street, you was that.
Yeah.
Don't cross the barriers. The
Yeah.
one thing that will not change is human nature.
And what's
So-
the number one rule?
If you teach a man there's a bully, he'll make himself the victim when he can't win. I will never let my kids know about any bullies. Because when they lose, I don't want them to fight. If they don't blame it on themselves, then we got a problem. Because I don't care what's going on out there. I could give two shits. It's in you, son. You lost, you did it. That man's color didn't, your color didn't do it. You did it. And that's because he can't control the people that he's in front of. You know whose confidence he can control? You know whose self-image he can control?
His own.
He can control his own. And I
agree with you.
And there's nothing in this world. I've dealt with white people, I've dealt with black people. I've had more things taken from me from black people than white people.
True. I agree.
So
with that.
when I send my son, out into the world, if I ask, son, I've raised my little sister. She knows I am. Only thing she knows, I don't care about meeting your dudes. Just don't bring me around a bum. Because if you bring me around a bum, he's not going to talk to you no more when I'm finished with him.
Early.
We had beef because she would bring guys around. I would run guys off. And my mother, you don't live here. This is none of your business. But as far as I agree with you guys' perspective. Yes. In situations, if my son says, Dad, I feel like I was discriminated against, they picked all the white kids, they left me hanging out, we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to have to let him know, like, hey, man, this is possibly why. But what was you doing in practice? Why was you on your video game? What was you doing on social media? Why wasn't you running those drills? That's why you lost, son. They ain't defeat you. You defeated you.
Hey, fine. I agree.
I
I'm
can't-
not against
No,
what
that's
you're saying.
I'm not saying y'all against. I'm just explaining my.
I get what you're saying.
Because you know what? What makes a man intelligent is two different perspectives.
Yeah.
So I can't go against your perspective without sitting back listening to it.
Yeah. I'm not
Nah,
like
that's-
I
I agree with what you're saying.
That's why I shut up and let y'all tell me your
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
Because if we do this,
Yeah,
then
we're
I'm not
listening.
learning.
Nobody's
Yeah.
growing.
I'm not learning.
Nobody's
Right.
growing.
So I was like, let me shut up and hear what these fellas got to say.
We all learn and
But
grow.
what you're saying, I understand what you're talking about. You like, hey, what do you do not to get to this point? My thing is, you could say the same thing, and I could say, if it was that kid, say your son was out there doing all the hard work. Only thing I was saying, you teach him the little things so he can have that tool in his bag, so he can already be prepared. Because he know, I get what you're saying, like, why you went out there? Why you on the video game?
Yep.
Why they out there shooting the basketball or things like that? But if he was out there shooting the basketball, he's putting in that hard work. You already to let him know you can put that tool in his bag so he know how to deal with it. Because sometimes I could tell you this, but working with a lot of kids doing training, some of them get down on certain things. They don't know how to be resilient. They don't know how to bounce back. That's one thing I always say. You need to teach your kids how to be resilient. If something happens, you can't always hang your head. You can't just always just say, okay, I've been cut. I got cut when I was in 7th grade from basketball, middle school, junior high. I got cut. But guess what? After that, I didn't get cut no more from basketball. It's the same thing. I bounced back. I was like, okay, I got cut 7th grade, boom. I'm good. But guess what? 8th grade year, I was a starter. Ninth grade year, I was a starter. 10th grade, starter. I was a starter after that because I was resilient. I didn't let it knock me down. And that's why I was saying just teach. You kind of teach the kids. Not you ain't got to teach them racism, but teach them how to be resilient.
That I will, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Be resilient. Be able to bounce back. If something knock you down, hey son, get up.
Yeah.
If Reggie played football, I know. Well, you play basketball. I don't know if you played in sport funds.
Yeah, I played basketball.
Okay, you fell down on the court. You didn't sit down on the court on your back, on your butt.
Was giving dudes buckets too. I heard Fonz was giving out buckets in New York.
But they're saying like Reggie, when you
more handles than shot.
When you was on the ground, you got tackled. You didn't stay down there. You got up because you like, I gotta get it.
I gotta make.
You know what I'm saying? If you got ran over, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you did.
I mean, that never happened to me.
Everybody got hit once, at least once. But if you got ran over,
never got trucked.
But if you got ran over,
it happened.
And you was on your back, you ain't gonna sit there like, dang, I got ran over. I'm gonna stay. Hey, I don't want to get it back up. You got back up because you was determined like this is not gonna happen again.
Once you got over that concussion,
that too.
Yeah.
But that's the same thing. You got dunked on in basketball. You like, man, I am not getting dunked on again by anybody in basketball.
John
That's
over there
you know what I'm saying.
Like, ain't nobody get me.
But I'm just saying, in general, I'm just using that as an example.
Oh, yeah,
you just teach your kids to be resilient. That's the only thing I was just saying. Put that tool. You don't have to teach them racism, but kind of put a tool in their bag. So when they do get knocked down, it don't have to be racism. It could be anything. When they do get knocked down, they know how to bounce back. That's especially as black men. That's what we need to teach more of. I'm just saying, us 4 black men are at this table. That's what we need to do more of, just teaching our young men, our young people, black people. And I'm just saying, not just young men and young ladies, also be resilient. Because you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have people that's going to knock you down. You're going to have people that's going to target you every little step of the way, trying to get you to fail. You're going to always have people against you. You're not going to ever have people for you. You're going to always have people against you, but you got to be resilient. You got to be able to bounce back. That's one thing. Just put that tool in their bag so they can always have it and be prepared for the everyday life, because you're not going to be with them 24/7.
No, 100.
Yeah.
Once they go out their house, you're not gonna be with them, because when they're not around you, kids do things. We
They
did
get
things.
shaped by the message around them.
So whatever society is teaching them outside of the house,
You got to make sure. Yeah.
you got to make sure they got a tool in their bag prepared for whatever comes in front of them. That's my thing. You guys just can put that tool in their bag.
No, this is good, man. This was good. Appreciate it, man. Got a little heated, but that's good, man. That's good.
That's good talk, man.
That's good, bro.
We learning. Look. The other thing for the viewers out there, man, understand something. We may disagree on different things in here, but that doesn't mean we can't grow by learning from each other. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, it might get a little testy, it might get a little loud, it might get a little heated. But it's all about growth, and that's what we're about. We, in the name of growth, we're trying to do everything to help people and you as listeners grow.
Facts. So I'm going to end it with a quote. I'm going to do my man Malcolm X.
Growth.
The future belongs to those who prepare for it today. I think that's a good ending to that, because most definitely ties into what we talked about. So appreciate it.
Starts today.
And, man, appreciate you guys and listeners. Thank y'all.